Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raghu Banda. I am from SAP Labs Palo Alto S4HANA Cloud Foundation team. Today, I will be talking through the Unit 3, where I'll be focusing more on the inventory management related machine learning use cases. In the earlier unit, you might have noticed that we focused more on the predictive analytics integrator and the Leonardo related technologies. So now we'll go a little more further down the lane, talking more about the use cases that we have which leverage predictive analytics integrator, and then we go into the next with a demo as well. So with this, let me first get into the overall use cases. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. Let me get in here. So this is one of the use cases which has been delivered in 2017, or one of the first use cases that we have delivered in machine learning, one of the first few use cases. In inventory management, obviously there is a lot of movement of goods or between different plants or different locations, and then here the delivery of a particular product in time in a particular location or a particular plant is always very much needed. So here leveraging the technology of predictive analytics is always good. So we have different, as you might have noticed in the earlier unit, you have understood what are the different technologies, the predictive analytics integrator or the Leonardo technology. So here we will focus on more about the predictive analytics integrator technology. So as you might know, predictive analytics integrator is called PI, and it is embedded into the S4HANA business processes, which is what we are looking here. In the Leonardo technology, what we have done is that the technology or the ML service sits on SAP cloud platform on the Leonardo umbrella or the Leonardo bridge, and this is being consumed by the S4HANA business processes. So as you might know, these are the two differences. And now depending on the use case and depending on the scenario, we pick up which technology is better, to be used, and that is the reason here we picked up the predictive analytics integrator technology, so that the predictive algorithms that we are leveraging is already embedded into the use case or embedded into the S4HANA business process. So here we are focusing more on an inventory manager role. So as an inventory manager, I would like to know what a particular stock is delivered from one plant and is moving to another plant, or from one location to the other location. Most of the times, for whatever reason, there might be some delays and it may not get delivered in time, which will affect your lot of time delays or your other planning, or there might be additional costs. So to cut down on all that, you could leverage the predictive analytics technology or the machine learning technology, and then you can understand if there are any deviations in predicting the stock in time at the deliverable location. So here what we are trying to do, we are using the historic times of these particular stock that is being delivered from one particular location to the other location. We take this historic times and then based on that we run it through the regression algorithms and identify and tell that, okay, this is going to be delivered in time, or there might be additional delay by a few days, or this might be delivered ahead of what you expected. So that is what we are trying to do. So overall, we wanted to predict the accurate delivery of a particular item at a particular location. To go further deep into this use case, you might have seen this pictorial representation. So initially you create a stock transport order, then your creation of delivery is created at a particular warehouse or a particular location, and then the goods issue is created, and then it is delivered to this particular location, as you might see in here. In the bottom on the left hand side, in the screen, you might have noticed that there is this screenshot, and then you see there are some minor little micro chart which which talks about the shipping duration. So this microchart gives you a pictorial representation of when it is getting delivered. We will also have another column which talks about the predictive delivery date or predictive deviation date. So totally what we are trying to understand here, or what we are trying to address here, are the four main things. One, we have wanted to optimize and automate the business process in tracking the stock, and two, we are trying to do overall, we are trying to attain overall reliable planning, so that my scheduling of goods in transit is done in a much more better way. Three, provide higher level or predictive analytics for these business scenarios around stocks. And then fourth is obviously enhanced usability for the business users, for the business, overall business, and for your end users, so that they can visualize it with predictions. So these are the four main things we are trying to address here. So now that we've understood where we are coming from, I would want to quickly go into the process. What is the process involved here? So there are three phases in this machine learning process. Initially, in the phase one, it's more of a manual processing. You take the end users, key in the data, and then they put in all the logical actions, and then once this logical actions is put in, you create the training data. Now the training data is created. Now you have to run in the phase two. You take this training data and you create your ML service. So this is where now you know that your ML service is created. In the phase three, now you automate based on this ML service that is created based on the training data. Now you apply it with your real data in your real app. So that is the main process involved here. So now that we went through, we started with the overall background of the predictive analytics technology and the Leonardo technology at a high level. We've tried to talk about the use case that we are leveraging here, and what is the technology that is being leveraged, which is the predictive analytics integrator. And then we talked about how this is implemented, what particular algorithms are leveraged, and what is the process involved here. Believe me, once we get into the system, it will be much more fun and exciting. This is one of my favorite topics, or my favorite sessions I would like to get in. Let me get into the system now. Okay. So the first step would be, obviously, I will run this through. We log into the S/4HANA system, and you might have noticed that you go into the predictive. As a analytics specialist, you try to see what are the different predictive models. It opens the predictive model app. Here, this is where the stock in transit, this is the particular model. So here you see the different modeling contexts. You can create as many number of modeling contexts depending on the number of training parameters or the filters. So here, training filters, currently we are using only pure data. You can enter the name of the model name and description. So once you are here, you enter the training filter and training parameter, then you say choose train. So this will create a model version. So once this model version is created, now you will have to create this particular model version is scheduled. Now it will, once it is ready, you can go ahead and activate that particular model. So now that it is ready, now I will go ahead, I'll click on this, click the modeling context to check the details. I can click on the modeling context, and now I try to understand what is the quality. The quality of the model, it says, is very good. You could also go and check what are the other things, like the quality of the model, what are the parameters, and now I activate this model. So once I activated this model, you will see the relevant model version is available. So when I choose activate, the model will now be available. So once this model is available, now I can continue, and I can now, let me pause here. So now what we have done here is that we have created this model. We have created a predictive model and this predictive model is now created as part of a predictive scenario, and this particular predictive scenario now we will integrate into the, we will see how it is integrated into the actual app. So, in this predictive model, we identified or we took some training parameters or some filters, and then we've this training happened based on the data that is available in this system. And now this particular training data will be leveraged to see how we can run it against the real data in the real app. So, now let me log in into the system, into a live system. So, let us go into the system. I will log in as the inventory manager. So, once I am in the system, as you might see, there are different groups or different categories: warehouse management, physical inventory, inventory analytics and all. I'm mainly focused on the stock in transit scenario, which is in the stock monitoring. I'm trying to monitor the stock. So, this is the particular app, the overdue materials stock in transit app. So, what we are trying to do understand here is that the stock is in transit, it's already overdue, or we are trying to identify if this overdue material, is it going to be available in time or is there any delay. So, let me go into the app. So, once I am in the app, so here you will notice this is another Fiori app. You have lots of filters here: days in transit, receiving plan, storage location, material, blah blah blah, all those things. I'll quickly press on go. You will see that there are a lot of items. There are about 7 items which are in the delivery mode, which are open. 2 have completed delivery. So, here it talks about, this is the micro chart I was talking about earlier in that screenshot. So, here the actual delivery is 14, critical forecast is fine. Let us see if the predicted deviation is also the same or if there is any change. So, I click on this settings button. Now, I will go down, go to the predicted deviation, and I will say OK. So, a point to note here is that this particular predicted deviation, this column is available only because we have integrated the earlier created predicted model and the predictive scenario, which was created, which is integrated into this app. That is the reason we have got this predicted deviation, which means that the particular app is using the predictive algorithms integrated technology to identify if the stock, if there is any delay in the delivery. So, here you notice that the predicted deviation is 5 and the critical forecast is 5. So, which is similar, and here you see the in this particular example, in this particular purchase order, you see the good forecast is 5, but the predicted deviation is 7. So, which means that there is some delay. And in some scenarios you also see -4 or -5, which means that there are situations where the stock might be delivered ahead of time, which is good. Then let us go back. So, this is what I briefly wanted to show. Now, the same predictive model which is created as part of the predictive scenario, this is integrated into the overdue material stock in transit app. The same predictive model or the predictive algorithm is also integrated into the transfer stock cross plant app. So, here what we are trying to do is a particular stock is being transferred between 2 plants. Of course, this is a different app which is utilized here. So, now I go here, you could see, now let me go into the user and I go to the application settings. You have to note that I have selected use predictive model for forecast delivery date. If this is not selected, you will not be able to leverage the predicted date. So, the predictive algorithm might have provided you some results, but if you do not check this one, those results will not be taken into account when you are creating the forecast delivery date. So, it is imperative that you select this so that you could use the predictive technology. It is up to the end user to kind of use it or not, but it is available. So, here you have the transfer stock, you have the plant, and the thing is you can leverage. So, once you go into the block stock, you can already see that particular predictive algorithm is already leveraged. So, these are the two different apps which are using that. Now, earlier I have shown you an automated script of how this predictive model is created. I also want to show you how it will look like when you go into the actual system. So, let us go into the actual system. I am again logging into my favorite system, CC2, which is our main test system here at SAP. So, I logged in as analytics specialist. So, this is a particular role where you have capability of running or creating different queries or design reports or create additional extensibility or other things, or create CDS views, which you might have noticed in other openSAP sessions. The same user, I can go down, I can go to the predictive models. Here you see predictive models and predictive scenarios. You created a predictive model, it is made part of the predictive scenario. So, these are all the so far available embedded predictive scenarios as part of the S/4HANA business processes. Most of them are already released. So, the question today, what we are doing is we are looking into this stock in transit material overdue. Tomorrow we will, in the unit 4 or the week 4, we will also go into the other predicted individual time for stock transfer. That particular scenario also we will look into in the next section, but currently let us go into the material overdue. So, here you might have noticed that there is one default model. You could leverage this default model, or you could say there are few model version, default one, new version. I would say I will just give some name. I can give a training filter, purchase order between giving some particular number. And as you might have noticed here, so now we are, the status it says is training. You might have seen that in the automated script, it is initially it tries to run the training, and then it gets into the ready status. And once it is in the ready status, you can make it active. So, let us now get into the one of these active models. Here you see what is the model report, quality information and performance. Here you are not seeing much information because the data is not good in this particular system, but I wanted to explain you that is the reason I have ran the automated script earlier, which showed you complete data with a complete process with good amount of data. And in one of these systems now you can see what is available here. So, here now it says ready. So, I can now go ahead and I can either say retrain, or I can delete, or I can activate it. So, if I activate it, the model, the new version which is now I have created, this gets activated, and this is the version which will be used in the use case that I have demoed earlier. Okay, so now it is activating. Momentarily it will be activated, but in the meanwhile I also want you to show, you if I click on the hit on the train, you will see the name of the algorithm that we are using. So, here it is a type is a regression. So, this is what I wanted to show. Anyway, I am cancelling it because we have enough number of models. So, now you have noticed that the latest model version that we have used has become active. So, when you go back into our system, if I log out and now I log in as inventory manager, the latest model version, whatever is delivered there, will be leveraged. So that is what is available as part of this. Let me now go back into the presentation. I want to kind of end this presentation by highlighting or summarizing what we have done. So as part of the week 3 unit 3, we discussed about at a very high level, we discussed about the couple of technologies, the Predictive Analytics Integrator and the Leonardo, and we have explained that we use the Predictive Analytics Integrator technology in this so-called manufacturing use case, the stock in transit use case. And in that particular use case, I've also explained you how this Predictive Analytics Integrator technology is used and how we create a model, how it is leveraged in a predictive scenario, and how this predictive scenario is utilized in this particular use case, which is the predictive SAP predict arrival the stock in transit. So what we are trying to do here is that we are trying to understand and we are trying to predict if there is any delivery delay in the stock that is in transit. So this is what we have so far discussed about. So we understood how this particular predictive model is integrated into this stock in transit for this overdue materials, and we also saw how this could also be leveraged in the other app, the stock transport app for the cross plant. So in these two different apps, this particular use case of the predictive arrival stock in transit arrival app, how this could be leveraged. So in the next session, which is unit 4, I'll be continuing further on inventory management and quality management. But until that time, I would like to thank you for your time, and please feel free to go ahead and get more information on this on our openSAP platform, and also of course if you get into the SAP S/4HANA documentation, you can also look up this particular use case and you get to know more details about the same. Thank you.